Hello, today I want to talk about the sugar craving and having a sweet tooth. Not everybody has a sweet tooth, and if you have one, you can get rid of it. But I want to go to the AARP article they did, 10 Ways to Help Curb Sugar Cravings, which is quite good. They have a lot of good points, and they miss some good points, and some of it is not so good. First of all, eat protein-packed breakfast. This really is very helpful because the body can use protein to produce glucose, and the sweet craving is just the brain saying, hey, where's the glucose in your blood? And the body can produce that. As long as there is protein in your system, the body knows that you can make the energy. Number two is focus on sleep. That's a kind of a funny one because they say, well, people that don't eat a lot of sugar are sleeping more, so sleep more so that you won't want the sugar. But it's the other way around. Eating too much sugar makes you not sleep so well. So that's kind of backwards. But sleep is really important, and it'll help you not be fatigued and want a sugar pickup. Number three, pinpoint your sugar triggers. Well, that's very key because if it's because you're angry or tired or frustrated or depressed, then do something different. Don't just load up on sugar. There's so many films showing people just they're depressed or upset and they just eat cookies and chips and ice cream all over the room. But then you need to do something about that. Instead, if you know your triggers, then change the environment, do something different. They suggest get a hug or give yourself a hug or realize that that's what you really want. Take a little walk or something else. Number four, remove temptation. This is the best one next to protein at breakfast, is to just not have sugar stuff available. At least in your home, you have control over that, and you have control over whether you stop at a bakery on the way to work or the way back, or what kind of snacks you have in your bag. So remove temptation, and then try not to go into the break room if they have a whole lot of temptations in there. So just remove it. And they mention if you have a spouse who wants all this stuff, then hide it somewhere. Ask them to hide it or put it up too high for you to reach without a ladder, and then you'll get a chance to think that you don't really want it. Number five, set a 3-bite rule. That's like if you have to have a cookie, have one cookie, or just 3 bites of ice cream, 1 scoop of ice cream. If this is the way you're going to go, keep it a small portion and just know that in your head. Okay, that'll satisfy you immediately. You don't need to finish the serving. Just keep it really small, just that taste. And that'll be enough, perhaps. Keep your mouth occupied. This is good, except they mention chewing gum, which is usually got a whole lot of artificial sugars in it, and that just makes you used to looking for sweet flavors. So you don't really want to do that. What I suggest for keeping your mouth occupied is to take a break with something that's sweet but requires real chewing. So half an apple, or a dried apricot, or a dried prune, or a dried fig. And that will slow you down and satisfy the inactivity of your mouth and solve a little bit of the healthy sugar rather than added or pure sugar. Then count to 25. Well, that's to let your brain take over from your immediate urge. That doesn't always work for people unless you really look at what is your triggers to think, not just count, but to think like, okay, what am I doing? Do I really need this? Lunch starts in an hour. Just do a little thinking rather than just say, oh, where's the cookies? 8, walk it off. That is very good. Anything that moves you, you're going to get everything working again in your body, so that craving, that like, oh, I just need a cookie kind of thing can't take over. You get up, walk around the room, or walk around your house. When the kids got antsy when they were little, I'd say, go run around the house. And they always did it. They loved it. And they were ready to get back to work. Number 9, try urge surfing, which is a concept of basically recognize that your urge comes and goes. It's like a wave. It'll just wave over you. It's a very natural emotion, and if you just let it go over you, it'll pass. But the easy way to make it pass is to have a glass of water. Whenever you get the urge to eat and it's not really a meal time, a glass of water can solve it completely. Again, it makes the whole body start to work better because all of our internal chemical reactions are in an aqueous solution. So extra water just gives everything a little boost, like sugar, except that it doesn't wear off. It doesn't get you with a peak of energy and then slough off in 2 hours and need more sugar. And number 10 is go cold turkey. Just decide nothing with sugar in it. This re-educates your brain and your body to look around. Where's the stored food? Where's the extra protein, stored fat? Just to re-educate your body and your brain to not look for glucose. And that's the core of the thing that they kind of didn't talk about, that there's nothing natural about the sweet tooth or the sugar craving. In the wild, before we had civilization, sugar sweetness only came from fruits and mother's milk. Mammalian milk is very satisfying to that because there's lactose in it. And a lot of human groups outgrow their ability to use lactose. So some people can't do well at all for milk. In fact, most of the world's populations. But those of us who come from, especially European, we do fine with lactose, even when we're grown. But that is for children where a lot of their glucose comes from when they're, up to 4 or 5 years old. But the natural places for sugar are in fruits, and we recognize berries and apples and citrus and bananas and mangoes and apricots are all sweet because the fruits figured out that mammals like sweet, and if they eat the fruits, then they will evacuate the seeds and in their stool, and the seeds will have this wonderful soil to get started in. That's the whole plan between fruits and mammals. We don't do much of that anymore because we trained most of our fruits to have almost no seeds. When I was growing up, you could find the banana seeds, but they're not there anymore. They've hybridized them so much that they really don't have many seeds anymore. They have watermelon without seeds, and the seeds in apples now are usually pretty immature. So we're not doing that anymore with our fruits in our more industrialized societies. But that is where the sweetness is, and it's a good thing if we're not eating the purified, white, crystallized sugar that acts like a drug. It's concentrated to the point where it goes straight into the blood, straight into the brain. And the insulin says, put it into the cells. So you get this jolt of energy. And then it's like, oh my God, there's too much glucose. And the body tries to shut it down. And eventually you develop insulin resistance, which is pre-diabetes. So you don't want to go there. Purified sugar doesn't belong in the diet. And yet it's added to almost 70% of processed foods. So that sweet tooth is trained into us. It's not natural. It's a product of industrialized diets. So that's the whole thing. So often we'll read, well, we love our sweets. No, we have been trained to love our sweets. That is not natural. So that's something to think about when you're counting to 25 or having your glass of water or trying to remove those temptations. You can re-educate your body and your brain so that you're like, that's just too sweet. I don't even want it. Okay, so that's it for today. Just get rid of your sugar craving by using your brain and using whole natural foods. And if you want to know more, get a copy of my book.